Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports for yet another live stream. And here we are talking about IPL. And before we get into live stream, once again, I remind you all and urge you all to check out our course on cricket analytics. If you want to make a career in cricket analytics, make a change in cricket. Now you know the IPL has gone berserk. You could be one of those analysts who can be a catalyst in creating a revolution in sport itself. And not just that, you can be earning some good money as well. So this is your opportunity to step into the field of cricket and sports with Mad About Sports. We are offering the course. Fill the Google form, and our team will get in touch with you. But let's get into today's live stream. Antariksh, I know you're a happy man today for sure. I mean, obviously, KKR has just won after that a horrific game you had against Punjab Kings. You would want such a victory to really smoothen things down, isn't it?
Absolutely, man. I mean, you can't really predict any time anymore, that what's going to happen. And it's just a very berserk season. I think it was 3, 4 seasons pending this whole batting barrage that is happening, but it's finally exploded now. We've sort of left all boundaries, like the pun intended. We've left all the boundaries behind us because it's like there was this norm which had no specific reason, but it was like, okay, I'm not gonna hit from the first ball because I don't know, it's just written in the cricket books. It's just gone now. It's like it's just out of the window. 200 is the new 150, 160, and as you saw, 150 in this IPL would not be spared. You would be embarrassed by a mile if you score 150. You could be embarrassed if you score 260, as I was the witness or the victim, I should say. So you never know, man. You never know what's gonna happen. I just feel sorry for the bowlers, or just
We could
just
never
get.
predict this at the start, right? When we were analyzing teams at the start of the
No, no.
IPL, we never could predict what this IPL was all gonna be, and we were still circumspect. We were like, okay, this is a revolution in cricket, which I don't think we've
Your
seen that
voice.
ever before. Yeah,
Yeah, your voice was gone for a bit. Yeah, go on.
yeah. I'm audible now.
Yeah, you're audible. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was just saying that we just witnessed a revolution in sport. Hi, lazy. Hope you're doing good. But we just have been witnessing a revolution in T20 cricket, which we've never witnessed before. I don't know if that's to do with the impact substitute, the wickets, or the bowling standards, but whatever it is, nobody could ever predict this IPL at the start.
Yeah, I mean, you could sort of link it to the. Um, I think
Just
it's
let me know if I'm audible now, lazy. अभी मेरा आवाज आ रहा है कि नहीं सिर्फ
yeah, yeah,
confirm
yeah,
कर लीजिए.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
audible,
It's
right?
yeah, yeah.
I'll
So
just take
it's
it on
like
YouTube as well. You can
you
just
could
carry on. I'll just take it on the stream on YouTube as well if I'm
yeah,
audible. Yeah, carry
you
on.
could sort of relate it to what happened with the PSG and Neymar saga, right? I mean, it was like many years in the bank, and the whole transfer scene was exploding day after day, year after year, and then suddenly that one transfer broke it loose. And I think that's what SRH did with their first sort of attack on that 300 mark, right? And of course, it's not been breached as of yet, but that was, I think, the point wherein every team, or maybe many teams in IPL thought that, nah, I don't think 200 is enough now. So I think that's that. And yeah, since then it's only taken upwards. And I mean, it's just scary, 80 runs in the power play. I mean, if a team used to get that back in the day, what, like, not even back in the day, last year, yeah, able. I mean, it
Yeah.
was game over there.
Hey,
But
just forget
80,
it,
I
bro.
mean,
But
what was it,
80 runs was the
125?
dream, right? Leave 80. We're talking
125.
120 in the power play, bro.
Yeah,
80 is a bad
124,
score. It looks like a bad score all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly, man. So it's. I mean, the scores have gone past our World Cup final score, right? I mean, so
Yeah.
it's gone past that in 20 overs. So yeah, I mean,
Okay.
okay, we might have dividing opinions, but I just feel that it's going a bit overboard now. I've seen very many opinions stating that they miss the games where 150 used to be defended back in the day, where
Yeah.
140, 150 was being defended. And yeah, I mean, it's maybe let's see where the game goes.
Bro, I don't think the game has changed or like batters are given extra power or something of that sort. It's just that batters have become fearless. Nothing is wrong. The ball is the same. The bat is the same. The ground is the same. You can say the pitches are slightly more flatter, but even there, last year also you got the same pitches. You've been getting the same pitches for the last 7 years or so. It's not like the pitches have turned overnight. It's the mindset which has changed. It's nothing else but the mindset, the switch in mindset, tectonic shift in mindset that has really enabled these batters to go berserk. They're not fearless. They're like, okay, even if we lose a wicket, let's just hit. And that's exactly what can be done in all formats, Antarish. If you look at it, swing the bat, man. That's the sport all about. And that's what this
You,
season.
I mean, I sort of agree with that, but I also differ here a bit that there have been claims about this ball manufacturing and thing that there's been some sort of change in that as well. Then the pitches have gotten flatter. The worst and the most evident thing that I really don't like, Abel, is that a ground as big as I mean, this caught me off guard. Look at the comment there.
No,
So
no, no. No.
So,
Yeah, it is.
I mean, what I really don't find, I mean, any meaning to is that a ground as big as Eden Gardens, I get it, it's not very big in length, but it holds 80,000 people. I never remember it having 54-meter boundaries. I literally remember some years back, it was Chinnaswamy, which was the smallest ground. But
But
every
bro, is
ground
it
that I
like one side which is 54? I don't think the
yeah,
entire
yeah,
length.
exactly. Yeah, it's not like Chinnaswamy that all the boundaries are that. But I mean, you know, I mean one side almost like 30-40% of the ground, the boundaries have just come in now. Like there's literally green patch of grass after the ball crosses the boundary. Even the commentators right now get fooled. They're like, "Hey, Gagan Chummi Chakka, bahut dur mara," because it goes way into the stand, and then it's like 85 meters, and then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, so I mean, the boundaries have come in way like a good 5-10
Funnily
meters
enough,
away.
Antarish, the biggest sixers of this tournament has come in Chinnaswamy, 110, 109 meters.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's that level of satisfaction that a batsman or even a watcher reaches once the ball hits that top, chat of the whole stadium, right? So yeah.
Yeah. So, just talking about the most important factor in this game as well. Just talking about the way in which Phil Salt played today. What did you make of that? Because I thought, Phil Salt, Jake Fraser McGurk, they're just setting up a new standard in terms of T20 cricket for the world, which is totally different.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's like, I mean, if you don't get 80, it's not been a good power play. And yeah, it's just carnage for the bowlers. And I don't even know like what as a bowler what you really can do. I mean, there was I don't know. I mean, it was just like that. There used to be a norm, right? That okay, two fielders are out, but we're not gonna smash them like around the park. Now they don't care. They don't care about the fielders. Even when there are two fielders, they target the place where one fielder is already there. They back themselves to clear the field. I mean, the ball doesn't swing much. The ball doesn't spin much. If at all, you can deceive the batsman. It's with the variation in your pace or your length, and that too even has become sort of very common to judge now because of all these bowlers and they face in the nets and stuff. And yeah, it's just going that way. And I mean, there's a reason Sunil Narayan's getting his first 100 at the age what he is, right? And it's not a
I mean, I
coincidence.
have to admit one thing: Sunil Narayan is a much improved batter in comparison to we've seen him in the last few years as well. Because I've personally seen Sunil Narayan's growth in terms of as a cricketer, but to be honest, as a batter, I never expected him to really evolve himself at the age of 35. Now we really took that case off 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Like everybody gave up on Sunil Narayan as a batter, right? We are like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
This guy's not going to improve anymore. He's got a
I
weakness
mean,
at the
I
short.
think
This
I
is
mean, I think
crazy.
Gambhir back, Gambhir being back was like one of the key catalysts of it, and it's just been that the trust shown in him has been very exemplary. And yeah, I mean, you know what, Abel, I don't really. I mean, there has been improvement, no doubt, in Sunil Narayan's batting, but the level of performances, the difference between the performances of Sunil Narayan, I don't think itna could change hua hai, genuinely. I still see him struggling against those short balls into the body, lower, pace balls. So sort of, yeah. I mean, someone saying Gambhir likes Rashford. So yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I don't
Gambhir.
know if you know that or not.
I
Like he
don't
was
know, man.
asked,
I
right?
personally think that's a debatable thing. I don't think
No, do you
even
know that,
analysts
right?
like.
Like he was asked about whether he likes
No, no,
Messi or
no.
Ronaldo, and
I
he
know, I
said
know.
Gambhir.
I don't think
Yeah,
you yourself like Rashford because you're a Man United fan.
yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
yourself are
I
not.
don't. I
I'm
don't.
very.
He's
I'm just surprised at how is he even coming up with that thought of Rashford, Mbappe, Haaland. No,
no,
but
Rashford. Yeah, exactly. Probably
but
he's a very sort of
yeah,
practically sane person. So he might sort of take his off the field antics, which was the charity
Yeah.
work maybe. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, this is the new standard, man. I mean, I guess we have to get ready. But the
Yeah.
interesting thing would be how it would turn up in the ICC World Cup, right? Which is
I
coming.
think
Would
that's what Michael asked. Indian squad thoughts. I think we'll talk about it as we go ahead. We'll talk about look at the IPL table now, because we'll talk about just as we're speaking. IPL table is really looking like KKR and RR are on the top of it. They're looking comfortable, and though Chennai won, said they were second for a brief period. Even Delhi had an opportunity to be second. That's how close it has been in this IPL thus far. Because remember, Delhi were 8 days before at number 9, and all of a sudden they had an opportunity to be number 2 today, but they just messed it up as they always do. They don't really capitalize on opportunities. Otherwise,
yeah,
they would have at least had a couple of IPL trophies to their name.
yeah.
But either ways, looking at the table, I personally think RR has been the best team, and we don't have to debate much on it. They literally have been they've had possibly one of the best runs for an IPL team in the history. I mean, thus far, we've not seen a lot of IPLs where a team has had, literally 8 wins and 1 loss at the end of 9 games. We never seen that. We've always seen 2 to 3 losses being there, though that looks like a pretty decent way. But let's be honest, for KKR, I think they've been second best team thus far in the tournament. Looking at the way in which how Sunil Narayan has played, Phil Salt has played, or even for that matter, I would say Shreyas Iyer's captaincy has been pretty top notch, isn't it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you had to separate both the sides, you'd probably look at the game that happened between Rajasthan and KKR, right? I mean, KKR were top notch. Of course, Sunil Narayan was top notch, and then Rajasthan did what they did. Of course, Josh Butler was the main catalyst there. So I think that's very sort of summarize where the IPL has gone this season. And yeah, Rajasthan are leaps and bounds ahead of everyone. I mean, as I said, that all of these stars and all are okay, but you need your core Indian players because they are 7 out of 11. You need them to perform doing, right? It's been absolutely amazing. Riyan Parag, how he's fared, especially in the first, I'd say 5 games. He's taken the whole tournament by storm. So yeah, Sanju Samson as a captain, I mean, and even as a batter, I mean, now you were one of the biggest supporters of Sanju Samson being around, right? And now I
Yeah.
see him all these star lineups, and each commentator apparently releases their version of lineup. I don't know कौन सुन रहा है तुम्हारी और मतलब who wants a new lineup every 24 hours, but okay. So yeah, as I said, right? So I mean, in all the lineups, we can see the ever presence of Sanju Samson there. So that tells us a story. So yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm absolutely amazed at what Rajasthan Royals are doing, and probably the table gives us a fair reflection of how we've seen the tournament go. I mean,
Yeah.
SRH great, CSK always there, KKR and R are the two best teams, and then we've seen LSG, DC, GT, and sort of PBKs fighting it out in the next four, and then RCB and Mumbai have in a league of their own. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. Lazy says, I have a question. Yeah, please ask your question. But either ways, um, about the Indian squad as well, as you mentioned certain names about Sanju Samson, we'll come to that debate. I don't know if you have to do a separate episode on that. I think we'll do a separate episode in a couple of days as
maybe
well.
yeah,
What do you think about Antrish? I think once the squad is released, we can have
yeah, absolutely.
literally an episode on that particular thing, or we can have maybe an episode just before the squad releasing as well, because there's a lot to talk about in terms of the squad matchups, in terms of the way in which how things have been going around as well. But talking about which, I personally think we have to talk about CSK, because a lot of people have not given CSK a chance this year for a lot of reasons. Number one, Ruturaj Gaikwad's captaincy hasn't been impressive at all, isn't it?
I mean, again, I don't want to go into that much because, as I said, right? Can you really say it's Rituraj Gaikwad's captaincy? Every time the camera is panned to Dhoni, it's him dictating the fee. I mean, it's not black and white, Abel, as we discussed it at the start of the tournament. But don't get me wrong, the pressure would be on him. But I'm so happy the way he's taken the pressure as a batsman. He
Yeah.
is hitting like it around the park, and I maybe thought he succumbed to the pressure of the yellow jerseys sort of being the captain, but now the way he's come back, it's just amazing. So I mean, I'd hold my opinion there, him as a captain, because of course, like, तुम captain नहीं हो सकते जब तक तुम धोनी के under हो, right? Dhoni is like, just Dhoni is going to be the captain, and in
Yeah.
not a very bad way. He's just that. He is the captain wherever he is.
Yeah,
So that's that. And yeah, I mean, apart from that, I feel CSK are underperforming a bit. I think a couple of games I would call them bottling to the extent. So, but
I mean, it's
I
not
think in terms,
most finesse like season for CSK as
yeah,
well, right? Had their issues from top order as well. Rachin Ravindra, I mean, the name is floating around quite a bit in the chat box today. But Rachin Ravindra's form has been a concern for them because of a lot of reasons. He's not really performed up to the standards they would have wanted him to. So they replaced him with Daryl Mitchell. And Daryl Mitchell, I mean, you can say last match he came good. I mean, that was possibly his last straw, right? What about Rashford joining KKR? They can make him a good runner between wickets and Gambhir also strikes. I do not know what to. I mean, this was your question. Okay. I think maybe. What do you think, Antariksh? It's your team, KKR. Do you think Rashford can be a good runner?
I mean, you've clubbed two of my interests into probably the worst player that there is amongst both. That you know what? I think Mitchell Stark and Rashford should team up to do something. I mean,
I think
they're
Mitchell
probably
Stark
the
can play
two.
better at left wing, and Rashford as a
Yeah,
better fast
yeah. You
bowler.
go to the left wing, Mitchell Stark and Rashford comes in and tries to bowl with his feet. I don't know, man. It's just been pathetic from the both of them. But yeah. Anyways, what was your question? Sorry.
Yeah, I would just say asking about this factor that I just made a point on a couple of things, especially Russian Ravindra not really coming good has been slightly an issue for them. Secondly, Darren Mitchell, he came good the last game, but the trust, at some stage, if he doesn't come good, they would have really dropped him at some point as well. But he did come good. Maybe they'll stick on with him. So that's been slightly an issue for them. At the same time, Ajinkya Rahane this season hasn't been the Ajinkya Rahane of the last season. So these are the reasons why CSK hasn't quite done well this season as you would want to. But they're still top three. You'll take it. They're just 2 points away from top two. As long as it's all good, it's all good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's CSK, right? One, you can never rule them out, but we're not even trying to because they're literally third in the table. So it's just the standards that they've set for themselves in all these years, right? And I just believe that with Mustafizur and Matisha Patirana, I mean, I think those 8 overs, right? You just can't get runs. And I know they've been beaten around for the last two games, but I genuinely don't think many sides are going to find easy to do that game after game. And him coming in after I mean, Patirana, like he keeps on taking wickets. There are now acquisitions on his
Bowling
action now.
action,
Yeah,
fair.
and
I think.
I mean, let's see, man.
I
You can
just
never
I just read
you can
about
never
it,
call the shots, right? You can
but
never call the shots with actions like these. Maybe
yeah.
he's gonna get modified next season, but just know that everyone is season to yehi action rahega. So if he wins the trophy, he'll win it with this action. So
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna really dwell deep into that. It's not chucking; it's the angular issues they're talking about. And I think in that case, people like Riyan Parag of last season should have been even under scrutiny because he bowled from even a lower release angle. But either way, Patirana is a faster bowler. He doesn't get quite the bounce and all this. These are the debates which is going around. I hope
yeah,
it
I
subsides
mean,
quickly.
you could maybe question that because many a time we've seen if you bowl a length ball as a norm. I mean, I call it a normal bowler, but like anyone apart from Patirana, you probably get smacked by getting it from the middle of the bat. And we've seen with Patirana many a times it hits the lower part of the bat and it's caught it long on, long off. So it could be that, but see, that is something that's not going to be decided this season. So yeah, I mean that's that. So yeah,
Hmm.
apart from that, I think Mustafizur with his change of pace and everything that he brings to the table, as I said, it's going to be very difficult for teams to pick him around.
Absolutely. My question is whether RCB can qualify. Yeah, I mean that's a tough thing to say. I don't think RCB can qualify, to be very honest. Being an RCB fan myself, I personally think this is not the season, and this never been. It's one of those seasons where you're not yet going to qualify, and though you see them with 2 wins back to back, but let's be practical, guys. 14 points is what they can get at max. See, the possibility of them qualifying. I'll just give you a scenario. I'm not trying to, give you fake hopes or something. But I'm just going to give you a scenario, right? Now, what RCB would want is they would want KKR to possibly win all the games, and literally after KKR wins all the games, they'd also want RR to win all the games. That's one factor. So all two teams runs away with it, or at least three runs away with it. And that fourth position, if two teams can run away with like 20 points or at least 18 to 20 points, which leaves the fourth team to qualify at 14 points. Now, this is where net run rate kicks in. RCB will have to win their next, how many games do they have? 4 games. One is again, next is again against GT. They'll have to win by a huge margin. And to add to which, they'd have to also defeat DC, I believe, after that. So they'll have to win by big margins and hope the other results go in their favor. I'm not giving you hopes again. What's your name? I think, yeah, your name is Azil. So I'm not giving you hopes again. I'm just saying the fact that if RCB will have to qualify, they'll have to hope like today KKR keeps winning, RR keeps winning as they always do. They'll have to win against MI tomorrow, and CSK, one of the third team, also wins a lot of games. So that's one thing which RCB, as an RCB fan, you can hope so, but practically speaking, you can't always. It's not Kudrat ka Nizam kind of stuff, right? It's not going to work according to your script. But Antariksh, I think as he brought RCB back, what is the late surge they're coming up to? Will Jack scoring that crazy 100? Virat Kohli trying to answer the critics, something which we've not been used to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, Virat Kohli has always been answering the critics, as ironic as that sounds. And Will Jacks, I think, could be the find of the season. There have been a couple good performances from the Indian all rounders down the order, but it's been nothing sort of very, I mean, I'd say it's just been fragmented all over the place. The team selection has been an issue. I think there's an over reliance, obviously, on batsmen and certain Indian bowlers. And I think there's a rigidness to some players that, anything can change in the bottom order or in the bowling, but nothing changes at the top of the order. You know, I mean, AB de Villiers, obviously, the legend of RCB, he genuinely said that I think Virat Kohli and Faf du Plessis, I mean, he maybe specifically mentioned Kohli, that he needs to be out there in the middle when the times get tough. But when he opens, we don't have him there because he has to go from ball one because that's how cricket is right now. And in that process, we lose him a bit early. And that's something Ambati Raidu pointed at as well, that whenever there is pressure, due to the nature of how RCB has been shaping for the past 8-10 years, it's all the fireworks at the start. It's sort of that V shape, right? You get it, but then you keep on decreasing your length as you come down and down. So something to maybe consider, but I think this season is a bit far. I think it's save your ego or whatever you'd call it for this season, and maybe try to get the best out of this season by having some finds like Will Jackson stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. But that's one thing which they'll be happy about as well. Going into next year, it's a mega auction, so they'd exactly know whom to retain and whom to let go of. And hope RCB doesn't make the old mistake of letting go of people, which they are very pro at doing. Except for Virat Kohli, they made that mistake way too many times, right? Of letting go of the right players, and which is backfired. It could be next year where, it could be one of these guys who would come and absolutely trash RCB out. So that's one thing for sure. I think we have to talk about before we go ahead into this live, or before we end the live rather. You see that middle model there, right? LSG, DC, GT, PBKS, and I also add Mumbai. Mumbai, yeah, you can add them, but who do you reckon have the better chance to make it to playoffs from them, which includes DC as well?
Oh, it's a tough one, man. But I
But do you see this top four staying also? You can say that as well.
I do. I do. I think this top four is going to stay. Maybe the order could differ at the end of the group stage, but I think if I had to put a bet right now, I think this top four would stay.
Absolutely. Okay, that's a very interesting point that you made. But for me, I have a very sneaky feeling that LSG is a outside contender. I mean, they're on the same points with SRS. If they win tomorrow, they're in the top four anyways. Knowing SRH, their bowling is slightly weak. I think SRH might just fall off if they don't improve their bowling. That's what I genuinely worry. And an outside chance, if I have to just give someone, just on batting form and exploits, I'd give DC a fair shout. I don't know why. I mean, though I don't really trust them because they might just bottle it. I think RCB is going to be in the top four. Okay, lazy. If RCB makes the top four, I trust me. I'd be a very happy person, not just me. Uh, and at the same time, I think a lot of RCB fans across the world will be very happy. But it's not practical. But
I mean,
Anthony, there's a possibility if RCB makes it to top four, then they
someone's
deserve
written that RCB, if they want to qualify, they'll need to play Audi Wala cricket.
or even one cricket. That's a good one. But even
I
then, if
think
I
Sumit too is an RCB fan. He's not happy with me talking, right? So I mean it's
I don't know
amazing.
whatever
I mean
Sumit is, good
the
luck to
level of
him.
fans that these guys I mean RCB has, but it's just disappointment after disappointment every season.
I agree, man. Remind me of those kind of things. But we'll move on. We're not gonna dwell deep into RCB's misery. But Lazy thinks RCB can qualify, and I don't think RCB can qualify anyways at this point. But if they do, I mean that's gonna be some season finale, man.
I think
Our
that's lazy thinking, man.
sorry, Lazy, but
I mean I don't know
uh,
what's with this what's with this football mix into cricket.
man, it's like Manchester United qualifying for Champions League this season. It's
No,
fine.
look at this, man.
Xabi Alonso also. I think tonight's live, we've got a lot of football audience. Just tuning in. I think
I
it's a
don't
football
know.
timing. It's
Was the
because we're doing.
thumbnail right or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it is right. It is all right. The only difference for tonight is we're doing it at a later time. We usually do
Yeah,
around 6 p.m. So this is actually the football audience time if you look at it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you all come to peek into our cricket live, but either ways, it's fun. I think that's about it from us. Thank you, Antariksh, for joining. So Antariksh has maintained that this top four will stay. My outside chance are LSG and DC if they really grab their chances. RCB for me is a meh, and Indian squad. I think we will do a separate episode on that. Otherwise, it's
yeah,
not fair. I personally think we have to talk a lot about Indian squad. I think tomorrow we can do a live on What do you say? We can do a live tomorrow on the Indian squad before it's going to be released day after. So tomorrow evening catches up on the Indian squad debate. We will possibly deliberate in depth, maybe bring some fiery opinions as well. Whatever Antariksh and I'll have to present. Always before a World Cup, we bring our opinions, and
yeah,
Indian team goes on to disappoint us. Only if they could have heard our podcast for once,
yeah,
they would have won the World Cup, you can say. But either ways, thank you once again for joining us. Thank you for all the questions. There were some fun ones as well. So we like this kind of interaction every night. Thank you, and don't forget to check out our courses, Mad About Sports, once again in cricket analytics. If you haven't already, fill the Google form, and our team will get in touch with you. Have a good night, all of you. See you all soon. Bye bye.